We spoke with legal expert Dan Kung, and this is a must-see for any product creator. You'll learn the basics of DMCA, how to stay out of trouble, and how negotiation is the key to resolution. Hey Dan, how you doing?
Hey, hello. Hi, I'm doing great.
Good to hear it. Hey, we're really glad to have you on the show. We've been really excited to get an expert in the legal department, the legal field, to be with us, and we really appreciate you being here today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here as well. Thank you.
So I want to talk to you a little bit. Well, first I want to find out from you so our audience knows what your legal background is. I know you've been a lawyer and attorney. Kind of want to hear where you came from.
Okay, so basically I did the hard yards, did the hard work, grew up in New Zealand, and got my university degree in law at Victoria University. Then after that I was a barrister solicitor. I got qualified in New Zealand Bar. And then I came to Singapore to work in Sidley Austin in hedge funds, and then I specialized in corporate law with Citibank. And I did derivatives and really complicated drafting with ISDA master agreements. I'm not sure if you're familiar with ISDA derivatives.
No, I don't know that.
It's not a cocktail conversation starter. So
Right. So basically, to put it in a nutshell for our viewers who are going to be some marketers a long time and some people who are brand new to internet marketing, this guy knows his stuff in law.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you've done it. You're there. You're the guy to call. So I wanted to talk with you a little bit about DMCA. This is something that we hear, kind of in the background. It's a concern for some. It has been a concern for some, and we want to get more information about what it is to our audience. So can you tell us a little bit about what we hear the term DMCA? What is it?
Basically, DMCA stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act, right? And it was originated from WIPO, so the World Intellectual Property Organization. It's a treaty, it's a convention, and it incorporates a lot of states. And basically, it's about copyright laws. And just to make it simple, if you get a DMCA, it's basically an accusation of theft, and it's put in place to help protect and to enforce copyright laws. Because as you know, it's become a lot easier for people to go online these days and to breach copyright, because they can make stuff from their computer. They can just take a phone and snap something, and instantly they've published something. So
yeah, and with kind of being in this market, we hear of rebranding. We hear that term rebranding. We hear of adding value and rebranding. Is that where people might run into this problem, or what type of situations where people will have to worry about DMCA?
Well, a lot of people actually, even lawyers, run into the risk of DMCAs, especially when they're creating content. So it's at the point of time when you're creating content, you got to ask yourself, am I infringing copyright? Because DMCA is essentially copyright, and as I defined it in a DMCA video, you got to ask yourself, am I copying a substantial amount of the hard work of someone else? So the first question you want to ask yourself is, do I fall within the fair use? Because using someone else's content isn't necessarily breach of copyright. Copyright protects the market, the commercial market for something. So you have to infringe and interfere with someone's commercial market in order to be breaching copyright. If you're just using it for personal use at home, if you're just using it, like if you take like someone's logo and you put on like a funny video or an educational video for class, and if you're not making any money out of it and it's totally for personal use and fair use, then you're entitled to the fair use defense. So they can't get you for a DMCA there. It's only when you're starting to brand it and commercialize it, and let's say I say I'm associated with Coca-Cola, and I come up with something like Coca-Cola shoes, something like that. And it's in those situations that I'm interfering with Coca-Cola's market, you see. And so that's when they would file a copyright breach. I don't think they've made Coca-Cola shoes yet. So
yeah, you never know.
For example, I apologize. It's not a very good example, but
No, I really appreciate that because, it's knowing the difference between whether somebody's profiting by it or whether it's given as a free product. There is a difference, right?
yeah, there's
So
quite a
if it's free, if you're not making money on it, the DMCA is not an issue.
Well, some people have asked me that question, actually. It's quite a good question. If I'm using it as a free product to help, like, maybe get an opt-in, or like get people to email or subscribe to me, even though it's not, you're not necessarily making money out of it, it's interfering with someone's market. So you don't have to profit to necessarily interfere with someone's commercial market or something. Like, so it could make a case, but I haven't seen much case law on it, so it's quite debatable whether or not that would trigger a DMCA. But I wouldn't risk it
Right.
especially if you're giving it free, right? I mean,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. You've got to weigh your weigh your risks, weigh, what's going to benefit you and what's it worth. So
exactly, yeah.
certainly. But yeah, your words on there certainly appreciated. What if somebody, just a case for you here. What if somebody has posted like a whole bunch of pictures on their blog or website and have said, "Hey, free use." Then is DMCA problems completely clear? People don't have to worry about it. They say it's free use, so I can take the pictures, use them however I want. Is that fair to say?
Um, yes, they could be in breach of the DMCA as well, because they're allowing other people to use it for potentially commercial use as well. And who are they to say that it's free use? Only the author has the right to say what he can or cannot do with his material. So, for example, if I created something out of hard work, obviously worked hard on something and created like on a masterpiece software, and someone bought it, and afterwards he was like, "Hey, I'm going to give it away for free. You guys can do what you want with it. It's free, and I'm not making any money out of it." He's interfering with my commercial market for
Right.
sure, because I can't profit because now so many of my copies are made available. That's resale for free, and some people offer free products, get advertising or to get people to sign up with them, and that's interfering with my commercial market. So that's the question you always got to ask yourself: am I interfering with someone else's commercial market? Is someone interfering with my commercial market of the product that I've created as the author? As soon as that question becomes debatable, more than likely that's a case for DMCA.
Okay, good to know. That's really important that people can ask that question and come to a reasonable conclusion of whether or not they're at risk. If somebody got involved in a DMCA problem, how would they know it? How would they know we have a problem on our hands?
Well, there's many ways that a DMCA can be raised to you. One, it could be a letter, could be from the person himself saying, "I'm going to send a DMCA to you. I don't like what you're doing." Or the internet provider might file a letter to you as well through like a message if you're on his hosting site, or your hosting site could just get shut down completely. You
Wow.
go one day you wake up and be like, okay, it's time to do some online marketing. It's time to get busy. And then you go www.your website and, oh, it's not working. What's going on? You start
Wow.
to panic and you think you messed up some code or something, but no, it's the web host is just taking everything down, taking the material down. And you might get a letter in the mail later, or you might get contacted by your email because your email is separate from your website, and they'll be saying, hey, we've taken down your material because there's evidence of copyright infringement and someone's filed a DMCA.
Yeah.
And they have to provide the information on that person who's filed a DMCA against you.
Okay.
So that's how usually you'd be aware of a DMCA. And by then, it's quite problematic because it takes a while to do something about it. It's not instant. You can't just say, hey, I'm sorry.
Right. As with any legal process, right?
So for a good amount of time, sometimes it can be 24 hours. So, I mean, it's to address a DMCA, that can take some time. To file a DMCA, that can take some time as well. So in that meantime, your business is put on hold.
Uh,
So even though I haven't taken you out of the picture completely, I've taken away your market for a certain period of time, and that's enough sometimes to deter people.
oh yeah. I mean, yeah. When people make their livelihood in this type of market, in internet marketing, we're in content production, creation, and we talk about DMCA, it's not a little thing. So much appreciated. And then you look at resolution. So we're heading kind of into resolution. So let's say a DMCA has been filed, your content's taken down, you're on hold. How is this going to be resolved generally?
Okay. Surprisingly enough, a lot of it's not resolved by going to trial, going to courts.
Okay.
Like a lot of people think, oh, DMCA, I need a lawyer, I need to go to court, I need a Better Call Saul or Better Call Kung, and get my army of lawyers together and get my briefcases out. No, most of it, the whole point of a DMCA, you got to understand, is a quick resolution of things. It's to quickly pinpoint a problem of copyright infringement, to quickly do something about it, and to put the obligation on internet providers, on web hosters, so that they've got this onus. Hey, there's a copyright infringement on my site. They could potentially sue me for not doing anything about it. So a quick resolution for them is to quickly remove the content. Better safe than sorry. That's the mentality of these providers. So in response to that, they're not looking for a lengthy trial to resolve the matter. They want, in fact, the whole point is for them to communicate with each other, to get the person who's infringed the copyright to talk to the copyright owner and to sort it out, and to be like, what happened here, and to really identify the problem. So most of the time, how it gets resolved is basically, one, you could send a counter notice to say, hey, this wasn't copyrighted material. I took this from something else. So that's one defense, actually. When someone accuses you of copying his material, oftentimes you can say that, it looks the same, it's similar, but the argument that most people use in defense is that I didn't take your material as the basis of my product. It was one of the ideas. I actually took most of my ideas from something else. And so then, immediately you make a case for, this is actually my own work. And you could counter notice and say that you've actually taken a lot of your stuff from him too. So,
now who are we talking about?
Yeah. So now who's the DMCA infringer here? It's the pot calling kettle black in this scenario. So yeah, that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is, if you don't want to burn bridges, because let's be honest, what can you do about it? There's a short-term solution, but long-term, you're creating an enemy.
Right.
Do you want more enemies especially online, when a lot of your products are based on reputation and credibility? Do you really want someone to come looking for you, and as soon as you make a mistake, this guy's a fraudster, he's just giving them opportunities and excuses to poke at you. So what I like to do, what I advise people to do is to try to negotiate something like a license. So just because someone's got, as an author, you have the right to sell something, but you also have the right to give people permission to sell. So you can give them a license to do that. So in the event that you find out, most of the times when an author finds out that someone's infringed his copyright, he just wants him to, sometimes it's just to attribute credit back to him that he's the author, or to purchase a license off him, so that, he's still getting, he's getting the return on his hard work. Yeah. So because he interfered with his commercial market of it, he just wants to get some of that commercial revenue back. So if you purchase a license off him, he's still getting that money. And in fact, he's getting advertising as well, because, you've pushed his products out and he's getting a license. It's kind of like an affiliate, just negotiating an affiliate program maybe. Or you can try to negotiate being a partner with him, or to buy shares in it, or to work and develop a new product. And I find that's the better solution, really. It's the quickest solution. And what basically happens is, if you negotiate this and he gives you permission, you can send an email to the internet provider and say, look, it was all a misunderstanding, it was a communication problem, and we've worked it out. It was a misunderstanding. And the internet provider will look at this, and then they'll just remove the takedown, they'll put everything back up. And so that's the quickest way to do it. And if you went to a proceeding or a trial, that would take forever. That would take you first have to engage a lawyer, and depending on the country he's in, you'd have to look at, filing a lawsuit overseas, and there's a minimum fee for this as well. And I'm not even sure what the civil proceedings would be like, especially if the jurisdiction's not the same. Like if you're dealing with a common law, or and someone's in China, how is that going to work? Which interpretation is going to trump? There's two different types of copyright acts. There's the China Copyright Act, there's the U.S. Copyright Act. Which one's going to trump? Which interpretation is going to take? So the copyright laws in China are quite weak as well. So, it's so complicated, and you're just wasting time, because time is money, and you just want to get this over and done with, and your website's still put on hold. So until the lawsuit's finished, the website's going to be put on hold the whole time, because it potentially could be they don't want to allow more infringements to occur, or more copyright, more of the commercial market of the author be taken away, so they put on hold. So that whole time you're losing money. And what do you get at the end of the day? You get legal fees to pay. By the time your website's reinstated, the sale's probably
For
gone.
what?
Yeah, for what?
Yeah.
For maybe some an elusive victory. It's pointless.
A perfect example you give us about the power of negotiation and in creating win-win partnerships. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
like instead of taking something and trying to sneak it or something like that, negotiate a win-win partnership. And even if something happens by accident, which I mean is very possible it does, then negotiate as quickly as possible and resolve it. Be cool about it. So your words and your advice are really appreciated because really it also shows you what kind of an attorney you are, what kind of a lawyer you are, because we're coming upon March, and I understand that you've got BetterCallKung.com that's being launched,
Yeah.
right?
I'm nothing like Better Call Saul. I'm not. Uh, I love that show, by the way. It's amazing. So I'm a big fan of Saul Goodman. Um, I don't want to necessarily follow his path,
Right.
but hopefully I can go the opposite direction and help people. And so I found that there was a deficit in internet law. A lot of people don't understand what's going on, and I can understand the reason for this because it takes a while for legislation to catch up with technology. It really does.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are clueless as to how to go about drafting. So at Better Call Kung, we offer legal drafting for terms and conditions, privacy policies, which is the basic minimum you need for every website. And on top of that, we also offer contracts that you might need. And my focus is to help explain to people basically what they're getting into, and the legal position they're in, and to help them equip them with the tools they need to be able to do it themselves. Because as a startup, you're not going to have the kind of funding that you're going to need to be able to approach lawyers on a 24/7. You're going to have to do it yourself. And oftentimes, especially when talking about funding, if you're going to ask people to buy into you, you need a contract for that. For people to invest in you, you're going to need a contract for that. Do you know the terms and conditions of that contract? Do you know the refund policy of that contract? Do you know your bargaining position? So these are questions that a lot of startups, they don't really know, and they're going in there blind. So I feel, I feel a need to help these people, to put them in a better position. So if they're looking for funding, they're looking to draft contracts, and they don't know these legal problems, just to make them aware of what could potentially happen, and then put them in a better position to handle the situation if it does happen, like how to write letters, how to negotiate, and hopefully they can pass it on to their friends, and everyone's going to be able to, grow together and not get sued. I mean, who wants to get sued?
Right. Who wants
to get
that? Nobody wants
No.
that. Come on. Really. Oh my goodness, Dan, it has been a pleasure. You have provided us with some fantastic value for our viewers, and also we're excited to watch your product launch here and take advantage of that, and also share it with the people we know. I think it's something great that we're really, really looking forward to. So again, thank you so much for all the information, the enlightenment you've given on the DMCA situations that we might encounter as internet marketers. Definitely appreciate it.
Oh, if you guys want to know more information about DMCA, you can check out DMCA.com. They actually have a website for that, for people who want to file DMCAs and learn more about it. And also, I'm doing webinars. At some stage, I'll be doing that. So I'll be doing other content like confidentiality agreements, refund policies, disclaimers. Everyone needs a disclaimer for whatever they're doing. So
yeah, that's great. Thank you. You have a good evening, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Sure, no worries. All right, take care.
Thanks, Dan.
Great advice from Dan. We'll keep you posted on his upcoming launch of BetterCallKung.com. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to our daily updates, and we'll keep you informed. For IMMarketNews, I'm Kimberly DeVries, wishing you a successful day.